enjoy the games. We're going to try to make it as enjoyable as possible. And yeah, we had some bans in chat, and I do remember Shen. I think Nocturne was the other one.
He was indeed.
And that leads us
It
to
was
now.
Yep, and we actually see a bunch of global bans coming down from mTw.NA, Twisted Fate, and Karthus. They don't want to go against those champions just because of the global presence they have. Alistar and Urgot bans coming down from CLG Black. Of course, we saw Alistar last game. We were saying, oh, this should be a great asset for Team 4-Not, but he wasn't really used to excel in that early game, and just they fell behind, and mTw.NA kind of steamrolled that entire game. Stellar play by the Rain Man. People are asking, oh, is Rain Man the new substitute, or is he actually the new player for mTw.NA? They are trying out top lane, so he's being tried out as of right now. He will be playing for them in this tournament, so it's great to see him back, but he's not the official top laner for mTw.NA quite yet. We do see the final ban coming down from mTw.NA is Jax. Not sure if that was, particularly targeted at Psycho Sid, or what their strategy is. Perhaps they're going to run someone against him that would not do so well. And the final ban coming down from CLG Black is Olaf.
I'm just looking at Mumble. Apparently the message you sent me started talking to me about it, and it's like, oh, well, I want to disable that in case an admin comes in here. But I think it's all good. So
we having issues over there, for
No, I do believe we're okay. But yes, we're good. I'm going with good. I'm looking at an Urgot Alistar ban from CLG.
I don't know what the issue is, and I don't know if I can still be heard on stream. I have a little bit of concern that perhaps that's not the case, but we do see the first pick is an Ezreal, 4 balls, played that last game bottom lane, did incredibly well. They actually picked up a double kill at about level 2 or 3, so that helped them really take over that bottom lane and did stellar throughout the rest of the game. Saved themselves from a couple of Alistar ganks. Of course, Ezreal's mobility is very key for that.
Testy? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine now. I don't know what happened. There was just a moment where I could not hear you, apparently. But I heard you saying, oh, there seems to be something wrong here, but I could hear you even up until that point. But hopefully we got everything sorted out.
No idea. I don't use Mumble that often, but it's better than getting to DDoS, so...
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know if we were talking over each other about that Ezreal pick,
Nope.
And then we actually... Oh, we were not. Great. So we did come down with a Graves... Sona, or Soraka rather, bottom lane, which is going to be a very dominant lane. But once again, we see Shen is up. We did see last game for mTw.NA versus 4-Not, Shen was not banned and also not picked up. So I don't know that mTw.NA really wants to play Shen. They actually hovered over him last time as if they were going to, but decided to go for Nautilus in the jungle instead. I think much of the same might happen here. But if they do not pick up Shen, I would not be surprised if CLG Black did pick him up. Then they have a Soraka-Shen combination that's going to be able to save anyone around the map at any given time with that Wish and the Stand United. And I say any given time, but of course those cooldowns have been nerfed, so they can't do it quite as frequently as they could previously.
I'm a little curious if Zuna took Soraka just to keep it away from mTw. I mean, last time we did see Ezreal Soraka, and it is a very spammy combo lane. I mean, you got a lot of heals, infinite mana, a lot of Qs and Es can just be flowing forth out of balls. But at the same time, when you pick up a Soraka for a Graves, I don't know, I always think that there could have just been that much of a better support. Like, Janna's not banned, Sona's not banned, Tarek's not banned, so I guess I'm going to have to see what CLG Black can do with this combo.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great combination because Graves can just push down the lane with Buckshot, use that smoke screen to help him farm and to deny people at their tower. Just throw it on them while they're underneath their tower. It just annoys them that much more, makes it a little bit more difficult to get that CS. But of course, once you do that, you put yourself in a little bit of danger to get ganked. I suspect they'll be able to avoid said ganks, and I'm sure that will be their strategy. Keep on spamming those skills, get infused, get Graves' mana back up, and they certainly didn't want to go against it on the other hand, like you said, because Ezreal can do the same thing, but he actually doesn't necessarily have to push the lane to be, as much of a nuisance. He can just send that Essence Flux through the minions, not doing damage to them, but doing damage to the opposition, and just keep on doing that until he whittles them down enough where he can engage. But I am kind of excited that the Soraka was picked up by CLG Black because it means that we get to watch Muffin Cutie play Leona, and that is always a treat. And that should be a very, aggressive bottom lane to counter that kind of passive Soraka playstyle.
Well, to pick up, as again with the Grave Soraka, we do have Hoodstomp taking out that Cassiopeia, and uh, I very much suspect a jungle Meowkai. Meow,
Meowkai.
what do you think of the Meowkai? And yes,
Oh
I'm
my goodness.
intentionally going meow. Yeah, don't worry.
Oh man. Yes, of course we actually have a ggChronicle caster who loves saying that and is actually serious about it. He has changed his ways. I like that pickup. I like that pickup especially with Soraka because the combination of the two, it means Maokai can put down his ultimate and they will be taking less damage. Soraka of course also gives a 16 MR buff to everyone around her. Oh, do we get popped out? And we get the the heals, which will be that much more effective since everyone's taking that much less damage. We do see a Sejuani. I don't think that'll be locked in. On the other side, we see Vladimir, Morgana, and a Smithy. Looks like he'll be playing a Malphite in the jungle. So it actually might be everyone picking their usual champions. Now, I suspect that Rain Man and Mandatory Cloud will switch, but I'm not entirely certain about that. And the last pick from CLG Black is going to be a mystery for us just a little bit longer, as now they're hovering over Twitch as well. So we do see the double AP composition. That is going to be a ton of AoE damage. We have the Unstoppable Force followed by Soul Shackles, hopefully precluded by, or not precluded, following up after the ultimate from Vladimir, and of course Leona has hers as well. So that is, actually 5 really great AoE ultimates that can land on the opposing team, and so Maokai actually makes even that much more sense because you're going to be able to reduce, hopefully, some of that damage that's going to be coming down all at once in a AoE burst manner.
Well, I'm glad you got the Meowkai reference because it was definitely thrown in there for the benefit of our GGC staff. Looking
Oh
at
man.
this, pretty much as you say. I mean, I would not be too surprised if we saw a little bit of going back a little in the meta, get that double Woda. Pick that up for
Hmm.
our pick that up for our Morgana. Pick that up for our top laner, which does look like they have switched Rain Man up top. I was looking at their profiles to see if these guys have a preference to those heroes, but Vladimir top definitely sounds a lot more common than a Morgana top. And Malphite, ever since Hex Hazard broke into the scene, who got picked up, which is awesome news. That Malphite has been a very big mainstay in these higher tiers. But as a jungler, I mean, we've seen that time and again. But does it have the same effect?
I don't feel like it has the same effect. The one thing is, of course, you can run through the jungle, pick up those GP10s just like you might do top lane, but you're not that same presence as early on. And Malphite, of course, has his passive because of that extra shield, 10% of his overall life. But without the extra items, he's not going to be able to dive into the enemy team with impunity. He actually can be focused down and burst down. So I don't like him quite as much in the jungle. But when you have, the follow-up from that Vladimir, from the Morgana, from Leona, and Ezreal, who are going to be able to continue the damage output, it doesn't necessarily matter so much if Malphite does get burst down. If they focus him, they're going to eat a lot of other AoEs and a lot more damage consistently from Vladimir and Ezreal throughout the course of the battle. So it gives them an opportunity or a bad choice. Do we focus down this Malphite who might be a little bit underfed because he's relying on the jungle farm, or do we actually focus the main damage dealers on the team? Because after that burst, Malphite's not going to be doing an incredible amount of damage, and I am interested to see how he builds, whether he's going to get a Sunfire, rush that Abyssal, go for that Frozen Heart. He has so many options in the jungle there, but I do expect those GP10s coming out first, and we could see the double Woda, but last game, Mandatory Cloud made such great use of that Zhonya's, I would be surprised if we didn't see that once again.
No, definitely a big pickup for him. So I'm looking at our X Smithy. Jungle Malphite, sure, level 6, good ganks coming in, but last time they also had that early pressure from Alistar, but they just created themselves such a lead that it kind of evaporated. Let's see how they can do up against CLG Black, guys. But LeeCraft ggClassic presented by Arcade. We're going to duck into a quick commercial, and we'll see you on the other side.
must be something in the water that falls from the skies on Runeterra. I know that they're not real, but man, I love them ladies alone. Hey girls!
Hey Kyle! Why do I never hear from you anymore? Like, I'm so much fun to hang out with, and you never text me or call me.
And I have not heard from you all day. I have retweeted you all night long. How could you? And you promised you were going to come spend time with me and come play with me.
Ladies, please. Everyone gets a turn. There's plenty to go around. Don't worry. Cause you don't know half of what goes on behind a collie smoke screen. And Italy's been a real tiger all along, if you know what I mean, yeah. But let me tell you what, the tangle's not the only dance that Evelyn knows how to do. And when I'm with LeBlanc, it's like I'm eating...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LeagueCraft ggClassic presented by Arcade. Unfortunately, my screen is now in lower quarters, so... yeah, I'm just going to leave the bumpers up as we're going to talk about the game. I will get it to you in just a moment, but I'm the Four-Court Jester. With me is Soter doing some excellent analysis. And guys, you can find us out there, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Soter, are you on Facebook?
I am not on Facebook. I just leech off the GG Chronicle Facebook. I have my own personal one, but that's for friends, and I don't check that because I have none of those. Are you on Facebook, Four-Court?
Oh yeah, Four-Court Jester is in everything right now. But here we go. I got
That's
the game
great.
up and loading, and let's bring up the overlay.
Yeah, we did see a very dominant skin presence from mTw.NA, Iron Solari, very cool skin for Leona. The new Glacial Malphite is also very neat. Blackthorn Morgana, Frosted Ezreal, so really good show all around from mTw.NA. We see actually both teams, it looks like CLG Black going for the defensive position. I always call it the European position, where they're just guarding all those entrances to their jungle. And we're going to see the same coming across from mTw.NA, so I guess they're picking that up. No aggression so far.
No, I gotta agree with you. You call that the European defense? No, I'm definitely all down for that. Every time we see it, they just stretch out all through that river, looking for those loopholes, looking for those invades. And look at this, you know, Muffin Cutie down there. We got Balls checking out that entrance, and these guys up top looking at these two. We're ensuring that nothing fishy goes down. Now, on North America, we don't really see a lot of around the loop invades, which would go down something, like in through this bottom lane, up through where Leona is, and then you would go off to steal those golems. It's definitely a lot more popular out in EU, but hey, EU defense works. It makes it very hard for you to get in there without hitting off any of those early warning signals.
Yeah, and as long as everyone is, watching their posts, it's hard for people to sneak in, and you're not in too much danger either. So we actually do not see any sort of ward presence at the raise like we saw last game. We do see two saplings thrown down by Ghost of Zuna, ensuring that no one comes in to place a ward at their raise, so they would see that if it did come in. Good strategy there, because it's been so popular among pro teams. I think TSM was the first one I saw do it, and now everyone seems to be putting down those wards at race just to keep track of the opposing jungler. I'm not going to see that this game. And we did focus a lot on the AoE team composition of mTw.NA, and we're coming off a great game played by them, so I think we both have high hopes. One thing I don't think we mentioned well enough is that both Cassiopeia and Rumble can, have really good matchups against the opposition here, against that Vladimir and against Morgana. They are lanes that they certainly can win, don't necessarily have to. It's not so much as a hard counter as, just a little bit of a favorable matchup for either of those champions.
I'm just keeping an eye on this bottom lane. I mean, Muffin Cutie
right.
with that Leona, it's a little bit of a riskier comp because you don't have that sustain that you would have with a healer, but at the same time it can be very bursty. I mean, look at that damage landing onto Hoodstomp with just one combo. Unfortunately, Muffin taking the loss of that trade, but if we can see some big bursts, we could see a very snowbally lane like we did last game for MTW.
Yeah, absolutely. And Muffin Cutie actually hit level 2 before Balls did, so she went in there with her combination, but Balls couldn't Mystic Shift into it, or Arcane Shift rather, into the fight. Now has picked that up, is level 2, and can go to town working whenever Leona is able to engage. So we do kind of see passivity all around the map. It looks like Xmithy might be coming up top here to assist the Rain Man. Actually, he's just going to place a ward, so that's always really nice when your jungler helps you out. Oh, then down bottom, a little bit of damage being put out on Graves.
Yeah, an excellent hook in from Muffin Cutie. But here we go, the mid, it is going to be Gosu Zuna hitting Mandatory Cloud. But again, just like we saw last time, that that shield, Mandatory Cloud can defeat a lot of those snares that is going to be afforded by Maokai. And again, Maokai, a lot of early, pre-6 pressure. Of course, after 6, the pressure doesn't let up at all. But did he just steal the big Wraith?
He just stole the big Wraith, and the crazy thing about Mandatory Cloud's build, actually you can't tell it now because he just picked up Dark Binding, but he got 2 levels of Tormented Soil and 1 in Black Shield, so actually did not even get Dark Binding until level 4.
And didn't think he needed, I guess. But hey,
yeah,
whatever.
Was not planning on being super aggressive. We do see Link going down middle. Oh my goodness, forcing a flash, using that Ignite on Mandatory Cloud. No first blood as of yet, and the gold remains just about, completely even. So certainly Cassiopeia still has that really strong presence early on, used it there, but actually is now down in Ignite and doesn't have flash either. So he's, could be a little bit more prone to ganking than she would otherwise be. Doesn't have that escape, and doesn't have a Black Shield that Morgana does.
It's very important, early game, you never underestimate the damage from Cassiopeia. You might survive her combo, but if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get away with 1 hit point, yeah, there's typically a poison element that you have to worry about. So, a very strong mid, always excellent to see the EU teams going like huge sustain Cassiopeias or big damage bust casts, and they're very fun to watch. Now, Mandatory Cloud, however, Maokai, maybe he learned his lesson, because he's now hitting up top. He's going to be camping out on this brush, but that ward that Malphite put there is serving very well. Rainman knows that he can't really go too far, and he's just going to sit there wasting the time of Maokai. Does look like he got the hint and is going to be shoving off, but yeah, 5 minutes in, no kills.
No kills, and Maokai is actually a great jungler to go against Vladimir because, of course, he can Twisted Advance and will still catch Vladimir if he Sanguine pools. Rayman was a little bit behind the farm, but is now catching up. Of course, the lane did push down towards him. Now he's getting all of that CS, so good job on his part, and really great job by Xmithy to put that ward down there. And his strategy so far has been just to farm, place that ward top. He's like, I'm not going to gank for you, but I'm going to make sure you don't get ganked either. And he has picked up that early GP10, got that Heart of Gold, actually even before Maokai picked up his Philosopher's Stone, so good job. He's going to probably continue clearing the jungle, but we haven't really seen ganks from him, whereas we have from Maokai, and Maokai actually not suffering very much for it. Is still keeping up in the jungle, has about the same CS, and will be going back to get that Philosopher's Stone pretty shortly, so we're going to see probably similar builds from both of the junglers with that GP10, which has become so popular.
Well, at the same time, they did nerf the jungle way back. Wow, it almost feels like last year now. But just that jungle rework, a lot of people were put on edge about how to make this money, how to make those correct calls. And the Gold Pretend builds, it works really great with these more beefy junglers because they can get the extra health, the regeneration, they can stay out there longer, and it of course helps them build into that end game just that much quicker. So big thumbs up from a lot of people in those kind of regards.
Yeah, I do love the builds. Actually, before the rework, we do see some aggression top lane. Coming down, like I said, we have level 6s across the board from the solo lanes, so that means, we'll likely see more aggression from every angle there. But there were certain junglers you could actually build kind of, utility support before the jungle rework, and it was actually about a year ago that it was remade, and now it's kind of the preferred way to do it on just about every single jungler out there. There are a few that still go that Wriggles route, but Wriggles also got nerfed, so people don't do that. We do see Xmithy hanging up top. I don't know if he's expecting a dive coming in from Psycho Sid. That seems to be the case. He expects Rainman to take a little bit more damage, and he's just sitting there kind of to protect Psycho Sid, or to protect the Rainman. So interesting choice, but it doesn't look like there will be a dive, and now he's just going to go ahead and back out, pick up this blue buff right as it spawns.
I gotta give props for this skin. Look at this magnificent Malphite skin. That is hot. I saw a little bit of chat before I turned it off about the Muay Thai Lee Sin. I know that the tournament director, Monte Cristo, doing some casting.
Right.
He's in love with it. So, we got some big skins coming out here from Riot.
Yeah, Riot is just getting better and better with their skin. Certainly, a great thing coming down from them. The quality has increased so much over time. And yeah, the new ones are going to be exciting. Not only is the new Lee Sin one coming out, but the Greek Cassiopeia one is coming out, I guess, in celebration of LoL being, into Greece now, into Greece. And Freak's actually casting a tournament over there this weekend, I believe, as well. I kind of just heard hints of it yesterday. Heard a couple hints of it. So we actually have a level 6 down bottom as well from mTw.NA, but not level 6 from the opposition there. but we haven't seen Leona go back and buy. We have seen Ezreal go back and buy. He does have that early phage going with the same build as he did yesterday, not yesterday, earlier today, earlier today, just about 5 minutes ago in the previous game. But it looks like instead of being aggressive, Balls is just going to clear out the minion wave. And Muffin Cutie was going to have back, but he got smoke screen, so he's going to, not go back quite straight away. He doesn't have any more wards. Of course, he started Boots and only 2 wards, and we actually see Muakai going in top lane. Muakai getting excited about this potential dive on the Rain Man.
Well, I did see the conversions of the icons. As soon as we were pushing up that bottom lane, I did see a convergence onto the Dragon. It's like, oh, well, this would be great timing because, again, Maokai's up top, and we just pushed up the bottom lanes, so Graves are going to be busy for a bit, but it does not look like it. Rainman not having so much fun up top. This could become a very diveable situation with that ultimate from Maokai, but here comes the cavalry. Check it out. Mandatory Cloud and Smithy. Are we going to be able to see that? Yeah, they see him and instantly just move on back, but it does look like it was a little bit of a feint, just trying to get Rayman a little bit of extra pressure. Now, I was going to bring up the whole build again on Ezreal. He does go for that phage first. It's still very light on the lifesteal, whereas look at that, look at that Rain Man. He's that's not good for him. First blood goes down. Again, the dive situation. You get too low, you're going to die.
Yeah, you're going to die. And we do see actually the early Sorcerer Boots pickup for Rumble. So a lot of people, and down bottom we also see a lot of aggression. Hood Stomp looks like he might head down. Oh my goodness, but actually Muffin Cutie goes down. It's going to be a 2-for-1. Oh my goodness, that was crazy for CLG Black. Leona just took one too many tower hits there. They did get the kill on Hood Stomp, but they just kind of went in a little bit too far. So that 2-for-1 certainly not in their favor. They really wanted to be aggressive, but they couldn't do it underneath the tower as of yet. So actually 3-1 is the score for CLG Black, taking the early lead there. We see, a little bit of aggression both top lane and bottom lane at the same time, and now we're actually going to see this followed up with a dragon attempt, and it doesn't look like it will be challenged. Gosazuna, just pounding away as Maokai will heal. There's going to be a lot of spam coming down from Cassiopeia, which will help trigger his passive even more, and there doesn't seem to be any movement towards it from mTw.NA, so that is a clear free dragon pickup, and that's going to extend their lead to 2,500 gold. So certainly I think after that, that dive down bottom where they weren't able to pick up those kills, I think that signals bad things. Perhaps Graves just a little bit too tanky with that Soraka, but I expect they will try it again. What do you think? Are they going to keep on going for those dives? Do you think they'll keep on being aggressive, or do they now have to play a little bit more passive?
I'd like to see a bit more passive, but I just don't think it's in Ball's nature. Look at, he died, he went back to town, he still doesn't want the boots, he's going exactly what we saw last round, even though he's in a very different situation. I mean, he's no longer in control of that lane, he's just going straight for that Trinity. Last time he got it about the 15-minute mark, but this round, he might be up in the creeps, but he's definitely down in the kills. And at the same time, again, Graves, his passive, it starts stacking up, makes it a little bit harder for him. The Infusion and the Astral Blessing coming out from Soraka, it makes it very hard to kill him, and it doesn't matter, we're going to try it again. Bloodwater is going to be going down. Muffin Cutie, however, will drop. Now it is going to come down to Smithy trying to tank this tower so that Balls can get the kill, so... again, I just don't think that passive stuff is in their nature. They just call down Glacial Malphite and you know what, you got a cool skin, we can win this, and they do. They win it 2-1, and now they're going to land a lot of free farm here for Balls. It might actually be the boost he needs to get that Trinity about the same mark.
Yeah, absolutely, and not only, they were being aggressive, they did lose that first trade, but actually Balls was ahead in farm almost the entire time. It's now about 15 farm up on Graves, so really great to be ahead of farm on a Graves who has that Soraka support, but... things not going so well top lane. Psycho Sid, 92 farm to the 62 from Vladimir. Rayman really being pushed around this entire time, and now Psycho Sid has his Hextech Revolver, so he's going to be able to sustain, not worry too much about those transfusions, and actually they noticed that Mandatory Cloud might have been coming up around top to help Vladimir on out. So while the team composition remains for mTw.NA, and they do have a 3-1 Ezreal, really top lane not looking very good for them so far. Of course, Vladimir should get to a point where he can just, infuse and sustain, but so far he's been having to go super defensive. Mercury Treads and picking up an Old Magic Mantle, and now a Kindle Gem, so that will most likely go towards a Spirit Visage, which will give him that extra cooldown, which is really nice for his offensive capability, but mainly he's doing it just because he is getting absolutely stomped up there by that Rumble, and it's great to see Psycho Sid having a good showing. I believe last week in Leaguepedia, or was it last week? Maybe 2 weeks ago. In Leaguepedia, he was having some lag issues, which really helped or really hindered his ability to farm up top lane. So I kept on seeing him fall behind. But this time, 108 farm, doing really good, keeping up, and has second highest on his team. We do see more aggression down bottom.
Yeah, I'm looking at Hood Stomp. He does have to try to get on out of that. The ultimate comes out from Balls, brings him low, but again, it's just not enough. That stacking passive and the buffs that Soraka is just able to infuse him with is just ridiculous at points. Now, we do have those tier 2 boots from Ezreal, so again, it does look very much the same build that we were rocking last round, but Graves, he's picking himself up that pickaxe. Does look like he's going to be trying to get to that Infinity Edge, but at the rate of his farm that it's decaying at, I mean, look at this. He's almost too afraid to go up here. If Muffin Cutie can get another, solar projection onto him, then...
Solar projection, indeed. Yes, another solar projection that would be very deadly for him. It is on cooldown for a while, and actually so is Ignite for mTw.NA. So CLG Black is a little bit safer down bottom there for just a while those cooldowns are refreshed to get some free farm. But one great thing in that last fight was Hood Stomp was able to, quick draw right out of the solar flare from Leona. Otherwise, he would have been a very, very dead Graves. He was lined up right in the middle of it, but was saving that quick draw so he could get away. So great play by him, and of course great play by mTw.NA, keeping the pressure on bottom. Looks like they're going to push up this lane once again. Might just clear it and head on back. So we are 4-3. It is relatively close. 2,000 in the lead for CLG Black, and now Rain Man's kind of taking a interesting position coming down middle. I think he's really not too excited to go top and have to face off against Rumble. So last game we saw him come down early for the Dragon. Unfortunately, no Dragon is up now, so he's just roaming around. Doesn't have any place to go, and we actually see a very early Woda coming in for Psycho Sid, so he's going to have even more sustain, and it's going to help out that Cassiopeia as well. Cassiopeia rushing into the needlessly large rod. Oh,
well, that's
actually a lot of damage. That is a very dead Cassiopeia. Oh, wow. Just walked right into that binding. Of course, a needlessly large rod on both of the AP carries, and Mandatory Cloud came ahead in that battle. Just barely. I mean, certainly if he hadn't Black Shielded at that moment and gotten stunned by that Petrifying Gaze, Cassiopeia would have been able to do enough damage to take him down, but perfect shield, perfect Dark Binding, and a quick ultimate and ignite to pick up that kill as fast as humanly possible.
Well, it's going to tie us up kill-wise at any rate, but still no towers down. Look at Muffin Cutie with that flash, jumps right into Hood Stomp, but Balls has to get on out of dodge. That was a lot of damage comes out for Hood Stomp. I don't know why he went back in, but he's going to drop to the big aggression of Hood Stomp and Bloodwater. And, well, now it's 5-4, and they are going to extend that lead to about 2,500 at this point. Hood Stomp, that was a big cash infusion for him. At 122 creeps, I mean, he's creeping back on up there, and with that kill, it's going to put him to 800 gold. It's not exactly enough to finish off the Infinity, but with that BF sword, things are going to be changing this bottom lane. Oh, but on the flip side, Ezreal, 16.5 minutes in, gets that Triforce. Still amazing farm from both teams.
Yeah, that is going to be big. He has that completed. He's going to be able to be that much more aggressive bottom lane, do that much more damage. I think it was kind of a weakness there. As you said, he doesn't know how to play defensively, so he didn't play defensively in that case. Tried to go in, and it's so tempting when you have a Leona on your team. You want to keep on proccing her passive, her Sunlight passive, and that's, I think, why he wanted to go back in. He's like, oh my goodness, I would be doing so much damage if I proc that, but he did end up getting the, short end of the stick. Of course, Wish was still up from Soraka. They did pick that up, and now they've picked up their second Dragon in a row, and now their lead has, creeped over 3,000 to 3,200 gold. And we see Psycho Sid chasing down Rain Man. It looks like Rain Man might be pulling out a bait here, and it does seem to be a bait.
Yeah, pretty brilliant bait, I gotta say. But that Ignite is going to take down. We did have the ultimate coming out for Mumble as well. We do have to kind of get out of dodge, and again, down south, Balls still not understanding the word defense, gets destroyed by Hood Stomp, and we're just going to go back to the high-speed chase up top. Binding goes down, Maokai comes in late. Yeah, high speed indeed. But yeah, I mean, we're still going neck and neck, at least for kills, but all we have to do for mTw is just try to get some kind of gold disparity breaker. They want to try to equalize this gold. They got to up their farm a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually do see a Hextech Revolver finally picked up for Vladimir. That's really going to help us sustain, and he probably will go towards that Wodo. We do see Morgana picking up that Zonia's Hourglass, has it purchased, whereas Cassiopeia going straight for that damage, straight for a death cap, it looks like, with her, she has the pieces, does not have the combined price yet. Actually, if she went back after these race, I believe she would just about have it. It's about 20 gold short, so we're going to see a death cap coming out really shortly from Link on that Cassiopeia.
Yep.
Another interesting note, 3 GP10 items from Malphite, running Kage's Lucky Pick, Philosopher's Stone, and Heart of Gold. So getting 3, sources of that passive GP10, has quite a bit of gold stacked up, and actually is out-farming, quote-unquote, out-golding Vladimir at this point. Actually only has 14 CS less, and of course those GP10s stacking down, 4,600 gold to the 4,400 gold from Vladimir, who is been kind of manhandled in that top lane. Rumble just being aggressive, the entire time. Did finally get caught out there. They did have a very, very clever bait where he ran past Rumble's turret, and certainly he was like, oh, he's running towards my base. That can't be trouble for me. But Mandatory Cloud was able to get up there and help out.
They always have a plan. That's one thing. Yeah, sure, he might be running past you to your base, but this level of play, that should inherently be a little bit sneaky. It's like, uh-oh, what's over there? There's bushes. I don't got a ward. Yeah, but hey, 5-6 the score. We're about to hit that 20-minute mark. You can see some of these bigger items coming out. Zonia's again for that Morgana. We did get that Infinity Edge off of Graves, and I gotta say, Graves is making like the comeback story of the lane. He might have been down in farm. Now he's up in kills and he's up in farm, and he's just looking to bring the pain here to the balls. He's literally gonna kick balls out of the lane.
Kick balls out of lane, and we do see Mandatory Cloud trying to sneak down there, Malphite clearing out the ward, so they know they've been spotted. They're just going to back out. We do see oracles on both of the team's respective junglers, and what we did mention, Balls, picked up that Trinity Force. Hoodstop now has his Infinity Edge and is working towards that Zeal. Could purchase it now. We'll certainly get it when he goes back, so he is getting quite deadly. Top lane, a tower does go down. Rayman might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, it goes down, and immediately the the aggression, Psycho Sid. What do you think of Rumble as a pick? I think I've been seeing more and more Rumble in solo queues. Like Captain Korea plays him a lot, like the best Rumble NA. And now Psycho Sid is just doing a huge show on top of Rain Man, who we saw with domination from Jace last round. I don't know. Why do people always underestimate a Rumble?
I don't know. He's been so strong ever since he came out. He has been an incredible top laner. Received a couple of nerfs, and I believe every time someone gets nerfed, people don't want to play him anymore. But he's still so incredibly strong top, and he also matches up really well against, Malphite, who was, kind of the big person from the last game. We are going to see a gank come in middle. Are they going to be able to catch Cassiopeia out? No, they do just back away from it. And down bottom, it looks like they're going to take.
No.
Take this turret.
It's all about that mid. Smithy, he might have just pulled like the bait of the century right there, because he just jumped right through this wall. He jumped right on top of that board, and he just nearly insta-gived her with the help of Mandatory Cloud. So, not to cut you off, but...
Oh no! I thought all the action was done down there. I was like focused on that turret taking bottom, which was incredibly less exciting. And I turned back in, and it looked like Cassiopeia was about to go down. And of course, the wish did go off to help him survive through that ignite. I think Mandatory Cloud thought it was a done deal once he landed the first proc of Soul Shackles and the ignite, but wish was just enough to save him. So really great job once again from CLG Black. Good communication. They're picking up those turrets, 2 turrets ahead. They're actually about 4,000 gold in the lead now. They will lose this bottom turret most likely, so that's going to be a little bit gold back in the favor of mTw.NA. And actually, they're incredibly scared of just Hoodstop, and now they're diving in. Oh my goodness, is this going to be a kill?
Well, Balls got the turret, so it is literally a 2-on-1. Balls and Muffin Cutie. Again, that kill lane burst. Every time you get those Sunlight procs, the stuns, the extra just auto attacks that Muffin Cutie can just bring to the table there for Balls, it was enough. And again, we do have that crit factor as well as the attack speed and the sheen factor all built into that Trinity Force. So yeah, 2-on-1, no problem. They're able to take that and the turret. That really helps out this kill and gold situation.
Right, I don't know if his heal was not up or he just thought everything was too worthless. We do see Mandatory Cloud almost going down bottom. Zonia's too good. Too good.
Yeah, I'm not too sure it's going to be enough. The poison is ticking down, but it looks like she will be able to just get out at about 300 hit points. So a lot of flak went down there. Counter Logic Black really trying to grab the Mandatory Cloud kill. She is one of the only heroes in this game right now without a death to her name, but that brilliant Zonia's play that we saw last game coming into effect yet again. This guy is 200 creeps, Zonia's going for that death cap, or sorry, I'm thinking more
Abyssal,
of
I
Abyssal.
think.
Yep, you're quite
Right.
correct. But they are going to drop the mid tower for it.
Yeah, and that was a lot of damage going down on him, and used the Zonias, got away from, the extra poison tick damage, got away from the Rumble ult as well. Rumble put down his ultimate right where she would have to run through, but the Zonias, one, negated the initial damage from that equalizer, and then two, allowed her to, debate and see where exactly she had to go to get away from that equalizer, get away from the enemy team. Did work out, and now finally we might see some challenging on this dragon. Of course, the previous two dragons did go to CLG Black. That is, where most of their gold lead is coming in from. Of course, it is 6-6 here, but this one looks like it might go to mTw.NA. They are aggressively going after it. Of course, they've cleared out the area with that Oracle from McSmithy, and there's going to be no challenge. It does surprise me a little bit. I thought they might feel confident. They'd gotten Mandatory Cloud low, but of course healed right back up with all that spell vamp, and a good job taking down that dragon, equalizing the goal just a little bit. So this game is going to be very close, dead even on those kills, and great play. And now I feel like mTw.NA's lineup, they weren't such a stellar laning matchup, especially top and middle. They kind of got countered there, but they have such a great team fight composition that although they are 3,000 gold behind here, I really think they can come back, and if they get some good positioning on those ultimates and team fights, they're going to be deadly. And my money would be on them in these upcoming team fights. What do you think about that?
I gotta say though, MTW, they showed us a very strong game, and I kind of do want to, root for the continuation series here, but I don't know. Counter Logic Black is, I knew Hoodstomp and friends before they got picked up, and ever since their sponsorship, I would not discount them at all. I think ultimately though, the balls play coming out, I mean, I just like his playstyle too much. I really am going to be giving it to them late game, but you got to factor in Rain Man. I mean, he's kind of starving at this point. 1-1, 155, and 25 minutes in, all he has really is just the defensive options, like a lot of sustain. So that's going to hurt in the long run.
Yeah, well, I mean, the great thing is he doesn't have that WOTA yet. He is going to pick up that Will of the Ancients relatively soon. That'll help out his team. And, of course, his ultimate, that Hemoplague, actually helps out his team. Whether or not he's fed or not, it's still going to be... Oh, my goodness.
Wow, what a combo. The Mandatory Cloud ult into the Malphite. They are going to be able to take out Cassiopeia, but I do think she got her ult off before that. But here comes the power of that Rumble, that top lane farm, serving him so well. And they do got that WOTA all ready to go. So here we go. Rain Man taking a brunt of a huge amount of damage there. Mandatory Cloud is going to save the team with the Zonias, but she will go down. Ultimately, a 2-for-1 exchange, even though we initiated that from the side of MTW. That's not a good thing. That's not a good sign to come.
Yeah, not a good sign, and of course we see the healing power of Soraka, that, damage reduction from Malachi, but it was an ultimate, combination, essentially tower diving, so maybe mTw.NA not strong enough to do that. I mean, they are behind, but they're playing like they are way ahead, tower diving to get all those AoE ultimates off, and it was a pretty combination of AoE ultimates, Solar Flare, the Morgana ultimate, Malphite Unstoppable Force, and that True Shot Barrage all going down, but just not quite enough to, burst the entire team down, and then, since they only took down Cassiopeia, there's 4 members to deal with. Muffin Cutie dove into the tower once again and took quite a few hits from that turret, and that spelled their doom, and so certainly was not the ideal situation for mTw.NA, and now they're going to kind of have to wait on those ultimates and see what they can do in this next team battle. Of course, Hoodstomp becoming very, very strong, has that Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer. We see the Abyssal Scepter coming down from Rumble. He's just kind of ahead of the build of Vladimir by leaps and bounds. But we do have the Abyssal pickup from Morgana, so they have, the WOTA, the Abyssal, and now a Frozen Heart coming in as the first big ticket item for Malphite. So that certainly should help out, should slow down the damage coming in from Graves at least.
Well, we can hope, but he is, fairly scary. 4 kills, 220 some odd creep. Does have that Infinity and Phantoms, as you said. That by itself, those 2 key first items, that's really when you start getting your wind and when really things can start changing around for you. But at the same time, we might have less farm for Ezreal, but he does have that extra BF sword, so he is going to be packing just a little bit of that extra punch. It's just going to come down to the survivability. Hoodstomp at this point just takes the cake over top of Ezreal for the survivability point.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only does he have that Soraka extra magic resistance, but he has Aegis of the Legion on his team already. So Frozen Heart is a great item from a jungler, but in these double AP compositions, I'm not sure which one I would want more. Obviously, the Frozen Heart's going to slow down Graves, but it's not going to slow down that Rumble or Cassiopeia very much. They're not going to rely on those auto attacks at all, whereas that Aegis just gives great all-around defensive stats to everyone within range. I think it's about 1,200 range there. My favorite item in the game, so I'm going to wax poetic about it even more. It looks like, Ball's using a True Shot Barrage to kind of stop the wave down bottom. It isn't going to pick up very many of those minion kills, but at least it's not going to keep on pushing there, and now mTw.NA is going to roam about as they wish. They really want to get another fight in there. All of their global ultimates are up, except that True Shot Barrage, of course, and so they certainly do want to take it to CLG Black. I think they feel like they do have the better team fighting composition here, but they don't really have great vision around Baron and have to be worried about that right now, and it is being started. We do see that one ward up northwest of the Baron, so they are being spotted here. They are going to finally clear that CLG Black is, and now they actually have a cleared out Baron pit where they could do it potentially without being seen by mTw.NA. So mTw.NA has to do a little something to, kind of stave off that Baron, but instead they're just going to head straight down middle, and it looks like there might be the workings of a base race here as we see CLG Black going towards the top lane inner turret, and I guess mTw.NA doesn't want a base race, actually wants to fight this, so we might have a very big engagement here.
Yeah, but, we were smart. CLG Black, they put down those wards, they see them come in, they did trade the towers, and if they were going to go for the Baron, I was going to say, this feels very much like last game, but the roles are reversed. mTw is going for the desperate tower in the mid, but, we see those wards going down, we took the time to clear them out, that did allow CLG Black to get out, so ultimately it just comes down to that tower trade. A lot of wards going down. I mean, for both teams, we do got those oracles just working away, so there's a little bit of who got actually out better in that regard because of the extra wards, but I don't know.
And now the Baron's starting again. Whew.
Balls just threw down the ultimate again, and when he did it to the bottom lane, I thought they were going to immediately go for the Baron because they can't get sniped. If you see the Ezreal ultimate, you got a nice 60-second window where you can go off and do this, but they didn't, and now here again, they're not going to do it, even though we have that 60-second window for the snipe, but...
Well, the thing is, they certainly don't want to be stuck in that Baron pit and line themselves up for Unstoppable Force and Hamo Plague and that Soul Shackles. Even without, the ultimate from Ezreal, he's going to be doing so much damage consistently. Sometimes it wouldn't even make sense for him to use the ultimate in the heat of battle because he's going to be doing so much deeps just with his actual attacks. We do see the blue buff. Who picked that up? I guess it might have been Morgana there. Not certain who got that. Okay, it was Morgana from Tormented Soil, I suppose. And now it looked like they were about to do Dragon, but they're actually just going to head back. I guess they are worried about Baron being taken at the same time, so don't feel comfortable about doing the Dragon. Even though they had 3 members down there, could have really quickly taken it out, but I think there were too many members of CLG Black off the map for them to warrant that. We're afraid they might just jump over the wall there and start killing that Baron. And of course, at this point, 30 minutes into the game, any Baron attempt is going to go really fast, especially on a team that has a Cassiopeia and that Graves with that Infinity Edge really built up. It looks like he's working towards his Last Whisper as well. That Baron will go down incredibly, incredibly fast. You can't be out of position. You can't be hanging bottom. If they see 2 people bottom, they can go straight for that Baron. So we're going to see, most everyone stick towards the top lane. And Ezreal is great. I mean, you kind of mentioned how that True Shot Barrage was a waste, but now we actually see the wave is pushing towards CLG Black side. Graves is going to have to go down and take care of that. And if mTw.NA could get an initiate here, that would be ideal for them. It is going to give them some breathing room and allow them to clear out this Baron pit, which is going to give them the vision advantage at least.
Well, I'm just checking out the vision right now of mTw. That actually don't know where Graves is right now, but Graves is